All right, I believe we're live. Thanks for joining us, viewers of Talkin Fight. I believe we have a guest joining us shortly. But in the meantime, let me make the introductions. Got Derek in the house, Christian, and Mike. How y'all doing tonight?
Great.
Good.
While we're waiting for our guest. Yeah. Female Friday, I heard.
No, favorite.
So while we're waiting for our phone-in guest to join us, why don't we just start off with our usual roundtable discussion? Derek, you've got some update for us on some boxers?
Yeah. So on February 13th, Adrian Broner, welterweight, set to fight against Pedro Campa. But unfortunately, during these times, one of his team members came down with COVID, and that's on the Pedro Campa side. And so unfortunately, the fights, he's backed out of the fight, which is understandable completely. But it leaves a void, and everyone's trying to figure out who's going to be fighting Adrian Broner if they can find a replacement in time. So it's interesting. It's an interesting dilemma because he's coming off a loss from Manny Pacquiao. He's also had a couple of losses from Mikey Garcia, Sean Porter. And so they need to find somebody that he can beat, but not somebody that's so much of a journeyman or somebody that's, a little too inexperienced that's not going to draw the crowds and get the pay-per-view numbers.
Well, he does have the ring rust, doesn't he? He's got a bit of ring rust in him.
And he's got ring. Yeah, it's like 25 months since he's been.
Yeah, exactly. He's got lots of ring rust. There's a bunch of candidates though that they're talking about.
There are, yeah.
Yeah, one of them is Ivan Redak, I believe his name is.
Okay.
23-5-1 with 18 knockouts. He would likely jump in no matter what to face him. It's just like you were saying, he's one of those guys. He's not going to be easy, right? Like Redak, he isn't a big puncher, but he does throw a hell of a lot of punches. So that might not be the best kind of thing. That constant pressure for Broner there. It might be a little overwhelming for the 25 months of ring rust, right?
Exactly. And the thing is that so I here's what I'm thinking, and I don't know if you guys agree or not, but and the reason I say that is we recently saw him fight, right? And he lost against Crawford. He's also Kell Brook's come off a loss against Errol Spence as well as Triple G. So essentially in the welterweight division, and then you think of Broner, who's come off a loss from Pacquiao, Porter, and Garcia. So both of them are pretty equal. But the thing is, Kell Brook, I think he might be retiring. I'm not even sure what he's doing, right? Because it's three fights, and there was that was being alluded to. And if you look at, I have to look here at my notes because I don't want to get it wrong. But if you look at, so Broner has, I think, 39 fights. Kell Brook was 42. 24 KOs for Broner, 27 KOs or something like that for Brook, and 3 losses for Brook and 4 losses for Broner. So they're pretty equally matched up, and this would bring in the money because they're both top names, and they've also had losses against some of the big names in the welterweight division. So then it would kind of take it to the next level and see who's going to be victorious and who's going to stay in the game.
Right. I believe that would be a good matchup. Another matchup I think would be a great opponent would be Louis Ritzen.
Okay.
Louis Ritzen, he's 21-1 with 12 knockouts. I think he would be an ideal opponent for Broner because you'd have the fans sitting on the edge of their seat, man. Those guys are both, they have the same kind of attacks. They're both oriented the same kind of fighting styles and stuff like that. And I think it would be a great comeback fight, for somebody who's been out of the ring for so long.
Yeah.
I think Louis Ritzen would be a good contender for that match, man, to step in and fill those shoes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, 25 months, that's a long time.
Yeah, definitely. And
Yeah.
especially, you know, coming off losses and stuff like that too.
I suspect for a lot of boxers, because COVID's throwing everything out the window for them. So a lot of them are going to have ring rust, you know, and like also your training camps and like boxing rings. A lot of them are probably shut down. They're having to find alternate ways to do stuff.
Oh yeah,
no.
Some of these training videos, man, these guys are, you know, they're in their basement. They got these makeshift gyms going, and they're in there just busting their butt by themselves, you know, with nobody. And you know, you don't train as hard when you're by yourself, and sometimes you need that push, right, to really strive and push out those extra reps, or you know, that extra 5 minutes in the ring. That's what these fighters aren't getting right now. So you know, a lot of them are going to have.
It's also an extra set of eyes on your technique and things like that. It's one thing to keep your conditioning up, but it's hard to. It's, you know, you can film yourself, you can go back and watch again, but it's really hard to kind of score your own technique. That's you need your trainer for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. So, have you guys heard the rumors that Klitschko might be coming back?
Yeah, I don't know. That's motivated by two factors, I think. Like
money.
Well, actually, yeah, three factors: money, and the fourth factor is, you know, he's 44 now, and Foreman took the title at 45, so he'd want to probably break that record.
Definitely.
Try and beat Foreman's record, right?
Definitely. But the thing is that literally, who's going to pay $75 million purse for this guy to get in the ring after being gone for 4 years? Yeah, and especially with the talent pool right now.
Oh,
I don't know if I see that, man. I don't like. Hey, I love the guy. The guy's great. You know, one of the greatest, you know, guys of his time. And let's be real, man. You've been out of the ring for 4 years. You know, there's still a little bit of hype around your name, but at the end of the day, $75 million. Who's going to take the fight first of all? Who are you going to fight? There's too many factors to come into play.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is like, so, you know, if he were to get back in the ring and he's going to fight, my opinion anyways, is he probably get destroyed by Joshua. He definitely be destroyed by Fury. And the only one, though, I think he might even have a shot at Deontay Wilder. And the reason I say that, and I know you're not going to like that, man, but because I know you're a big fan, but it's just because Deontay Wilder he's got superhuman power, like knockout power. It's insane, but his ring skills are, you know, they're good, but I think he started late in boxing, right? So he's not like, whereas you got a guy like Klitschko, man, he knows what is he, like 60 some odd fights?
Oh yeah, I believe so.
His ring IQ and boxing skills are incredible, and he might be able to just school him, you know,
right?
But all it would take is one shot from Wilder. Like that's all it takes with that the type of power he possesses.
Oh man, it'd be awesome. Honestly,
but I still think like Joshua or Fury could definitely take Klitschko right now.
At this point, yeah. Like how active has he been in the last 4 years, right?
And they both did in the past anyways, right? So
exactly.
Yeah.
I think we're all starving enough for content at this point in time that whoever he fights, we're all going to watch.
Yeah, exactly. No kidding.
It's true, right? You know, honestly, I don't even know who do you think would even take a fight like that, to be honest. And honestly, who's going to put up that kind of money? Like, do we really want to see Klitschko come back? Do we really want to pay this guy $75 million to get in the ring and maybe get knocked out in the first friggin', you know, first round maybe? Especially with the talent, man. Like 4 years out of the game, that's a huge gap, man. And that's a whole lot of new talent, man. Like,
and how does it even work? Like, does he have to like start all over and start from the bottom and start working his way up through a couple of punching bags and prove that he's got it still, or does he just walk right into a title fight, right? Like, I don't know how that works. I think there's certain you know what?
Honestly, at the end of the day, it's all about his camp puts in front of him and what the managers sign the contract for, really, right? Like if he's talking $75 million to get back in the ring, you know for a fact he ain't going to be fighting some Joe Schmo off the block. He's going to be fighting, he's going to be fighting a headliner, because that's the only way you're going to be able to make a purse, $75 million. Because first of all, who the hell's going to step in the ring with him anyway and not get $50 million themselves, right?
I'm sure we can find a YouTuber or an Instagram influencer willing to take a shot.
We have lots of them, and you know what? As much as everybody hates them, they're doing a great thing for boxing. We know that. We love it.
They are. I think that could be a whole new genre. It's just people with really punchable faces on YouTube stepping into the ring with professional boxers for the money. I mean, the money's there for it. The views are there. I think we might be onto something here.
Oh, I can't wait! I can't wait for the Logan Mayweather, man. That's gonna be funny. I can't wait to see this kid get his head knocked off for $200,000.
Yeah.
Right,
Christian. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but Mike and I were watching some face slapping the other day. If you want to see something completely hilarious, the Australians are
big on that.
No. This is oh man, this is
in the outback. This is in
Australia,
in the outback.
Yeah, Australian slap fighting.
Yeah, it's just a concussion is all it is. You're just watching someone get a concussion at that point.
Pop eardrums and get concussion.
It is, the slap fights are to boxing what T-ball is to baseball. At the end of the day, you're not aiming for a moving target at that point. It's all right. You stand right there. Just let me line it up, and then you just see these guys just but the follow-up is brilliant.
They can't even hit right, man.
The slow motion videos from that stuff is absolutely magical to watch. You can just watch your guy's face end up over here before his head does.
You know what the opposite of that though is this bare knuckle boxing that we're watching. It's emerging, and you've seen how wrestling back in like the 80s kind of took over, but that was more entertainment, not a sport. Right. Then MMA came into it, and it became brutal, and this is opened up a path for boxing to come in, but boxing now is taking it to the extreme with bare knuckle boxing, and they're promoting it. Like, if you've seen any of these fights online, they're incredibly brutal. Incredible.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with it.
I can remember watching.
You see a lot of broken knuckles, that's for sure.
You see a lot of split eyebrows, man. That's what you see. A lot of eyebrows hanging over the eye,
Yeah. Men and women.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, man. What's their name?
By Vaseline, it's the only thing holding their eyebrows together by the end of it.
The girl from WWE, Paige, she did not re-sign her contract with WWE, and she is now signed to bare knuckle boxing. So you have people making the jump from professional wrestling over to bare knuckle boxing, which is kind of funny.
Well, there's a few different venues at this point in time, right? You've got your MMA fighters, you've got there's a few different ways they can go. You've got this bare knuckle stuff that's going on. Boxing, the proper boxing is making a big resurgence right now. And, we see it every 4 years or so. Again, the Olympics come around, and then we start to see everyone, for a brief moment in time, starts really getting excited about amateur sport again. So there's a few different avenues for the avid sports fan to get their fix at this point.
Yeah.
Our guest will be joining us very shortly, former Olympian himself. And I believe you had a little piece lined up, did you not, Christian, with respect to
I just wanted to chat a little bit. As you guys know, the last little while I've been I mentioned last week that I'm starting to gear up in my head towards the Olympics, and that's the way my thinking's going. So Mike and I were actually having a conversation a little last week, and we started talking about the difference, pros in the Olympics versus amateurs. And Rio was the first modern Olympics where we actually saw professional boxers in the ring with amateurs. And this was obviously very controversial at the time going into it. So we just wanted to take a quick look at that kind of moving forward. So like back in 2016, the Bleacher Report said, and I quote on this one, "This is an idea so ridiculous, so bad, and so dangerous that it boggles the mind that someone out there was stupid enough to think it up, much less believe it was a good idea." Now that was their response when a week earlier the Associated Press had reported that International Boxing Association president, Ching Wu, and I apologize in advance, guys. There's a bunch of names in this, what we're going to do tonight here, that I will pronounce terribly. I'm just going to butcher them, and you're going to have to deal with it.
Honestly, that one sounded pretty close.
That one should be fine. It gets worse for me. He fast-tracked a proposal that was going to allow professional boxers into the Rio Games. So a few weeks back, if you remember, or if you look back into our log here, you're going to see that we covered some of the differences between professional and amateur boxing. Like equipment aside, the focus is very different. Olympic boxing is much more point-driven. No extra points for staggering your opponent or knocking them into the mat, or even controlling the pace of the fight. The obvious fear was that top seed fighters were going to step into the ring with a much less experienced fighter, and that someone was going to get hurt. Lennox Lewis at the time said, once again, I quote here, "I kind of think it's preposterous to a certain degree. The amateur system is based for amateurs. This is why we put the headgear on to protect them, because they have a lack of experience and they're not that primed as a professional yet. Now all of a sudden you get a world champion or somebody in the top 10 now going against basically an amateur, somebody with a lack of experience, and I don't think that's being fair." So then that was a pro. That was him weighing in on that. But how did they actually do? So and for the men, there was three boxers who qualified, three professionals who qualified in Rio, all of whom were over 30 years old, and none of them were able to win against the largely younger competition. More than once. There was a couple of wins in there. Hassem Ndam Njikum, 32 years old, from Cameroon, faced off against Michael Borges, 25, in the 81 kilogram division, and lost via decision. That was his only fight. And he lost. Afterwards, he said, "I fought all these amateurs before, and I'm not surprised to lose to an amateur, because I used to be one. Professionals do not have an advantage because the characteristics of the fight are different." Now, this, of course, is going to be referencing things like the fact that these fights are comprised of 3-round bouts rather than 12. So you have a lot less time to add to score those points. Carmen Tomasone of Italy, he won his first match, and then against Lindolfo Delgado of Mexico. But then lost to a 25-year-old Lazaro Alvarez from Cuba in the second round. Thailand's Amnat Ruenrong won his first bout against Ignacio Perrin of Argentina, and then lost to France's Sofiane Umaha. And again, I apologize on the pronunciations here. I'm gonna butcher these. In the round of 16.
I don't mean to laugh. It's hard though. It's hard.
No, I have a lot more respect for the guys who do this professionally at the Olympics, when they get a list of names this long and they actually have to pronounce them properly. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. For example, let's see, our Italian fighter, he has a professional record of 20 wins, 1 loss, no draws. 5 of those wins by knockout. Our Cameroonian fighter, 37 wins, 5 losses, no draws. 21 of those wins by knockout. And our Thai won 4-0, 6 of those wins by knockout. So I mean, these are not inexperienced fighters. These are guys who obviously had amateur careers before they went pro and are having successful some of these guys have recently retired. We're having extremely successful professional careers. And when it came down to the Olympic format, it did not favor them at all. So I'm really curious at this point in time, and I'm curious to get your thoughts, and I'm curious to get our guest's thoughts once he gets on here. What your thoughts are moving forward? Looking back at Rio and moving forward, do we think there's any place for professionals in the Olympic format?
You know what? Honestly and truthfully, not really. There's not really a place for it, but why ban it? You know what I mean? It's not like they're dominating it. If you want to give the ability to this guy to jump back in the ring and try and win a medal for his country, then why not give him that ability? But it's just showing you that the longer that you're out of that amateur bout, that game, it shows it's hard to compete, man. Each round these amateur fighters on average are throwing twice as many punches as as the pros are, because it's done on such a different scoring level, right? Like, 3 rounds, 3 minutes versus, 3 12-minute rounds. You don't have the time to feel out your opponent. It's you get in there right away, you stick to your game plan, you work your combinations, and that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to score points. Realistically, you never really see pros in that game, but if they want to go, why not, man? Just let them. But it's not like they really need to, man. You wouldn't have to ban them. They're not getting far. It's not like they're putting gold medals on pros. It's an amateur stage. It's always been an amateur stage.
Well, yeah, the big fear was, everyone kept referencing everyone kept referencing basketball and the dream team, American dream team. And that's what we're just going to step in and just kind of walk right over the amateur competition. But actually, a bunch of you may remember a few weeks back we had Lil Tyson on here, Sandy Seguros, and it was one of the big things that she talked about was making the switch from amateur to professional, was how her training had to shift from being kind of speed based and technique driven to she had to really up her power game.
Yep. And it's the opposite, right? When you go backwards and you're trying to go from pro back to amateur, like I actually think they're at a disadvantage because they're used to you score points for like being aggressive and being, power punches and, it's totally different, right? As you just talked about, it's completely different, right? It's all point
driven.
Based.
Yeah.
And some of these guys had fought at the Olympic level before. Our Italian, Tomasoni, there had taken 4th place in Athens in 2004. So it wasn't that they were completely unfamiliar with it. It's just, that training had changed. Your body physicality changes when you change that training. And things like your speed are going to be altered.
Also, as you become a pro, man, you tend to find your, like that groove, and you kind of ride with it, and you kind of become this fighter that you didn't know who you were back in amateur days, so you become this whole other entity of yourself, and you kind of like become the fighter you're supposed to be. It's hard to go back to the beginning, man. Once you're set in your ways, and the training and your ring time and the way you execute your game plan, to try and go back to back before you found yourself and became this amazing fighter that you are and made the pro level. I believe that kind of transition to go backwards is almost damn near impossible, man. And it goes to show you with these pros entering the 2016 Olympics and not being able to make it past the top 16 kind of thing. It's incredible. It's incredible that it happens like that, but like you said before, Christian, it's a amateur stage, and definitely it is, and it does wonders for them. It puts them on the map, puts them on notice. You win a gold around your neck, you're probably going to be a great contender in your weight class once you become a pro.
I think the shorter matches is really going to be the big one. It's the shorter matches that really throws everyone here from the pro level. And it's like you said, you can't feel them out. And once you go into that pro, you become your own boxer. You get your own technique, your own style. Yeah. Well, you don't have time for that in Olympic boxing. You get out there and you better start throwing fast if you want to start landing points.
That's for sure. And
it's going to be the same with any sport.
But the best person that's going to be able to answer this for us is probably our guest when he gets in here, because he was captain of the U.S. Olympic team, so we'll definitely have to ask him his thoughts on that. In the meantime, so Logan Paul, Floyd Mayweather, who do you think, Christian?
Oh, well, it's going to be Mayweather.
I think Logan Paul's got a better chance of winning a gold medal in handball at the Olympics.
Well, I'm just hoping that it's going to be entertaining at the end of the day.
It's going to be a Tyson fight from the 80s and 90s, man. You're going to get up to take a piss. You're going to come back, and the credits are going to be rolling. You're going to be like, "What the hell happened?"
Well, that's just it. You can't leave the couch. Thank God for TV.
No, man. No. Definitely need a bag stuck to your leg, right? So you don't get up and miss that one. Jeez.
Yeah.
You could just strategically place some mirrors so you can still see the TV.
That's a good idea. Or set one up in your bathroom already, because you can't blink for this fight. I think
have somebody call you and FaceTime you to the TV. There's ways around this, Michael. You're just not thinking hard enough.
Right. I believe the date is already set too for that fight as well. I think it's sometime in February, isn't it?
Is it a big money maker? Like, what's the purse on it?
I know Mayweather is getting 50 million.
Oh, yeah, because otherwise, why would he do it, right?
And yeah, exactly. And Logan Paul is only getting, I believe, 200,000. So it's kind of ridiculous. Okay, yeah. So the Floyd Money Mayweather fight with Logan Paul in an
February
exhibition
20th.
February 20th. Yeah, February 20th. So the date has been set. People watching, remember, write it on your calendars. You don't need to take a lot of time out of your day because it's going to be really quick. So just put aside a couple of minutes before bed, and I'm pretty sure that'll be enough time to see this fight. This joke. But hey, they're doing wonders for boxing. So give them 2 thumbs up. I'd love to watch these YouTubers come in and try and fight the best in the world, man. It's the best. So, Graham, you have anything you want to say?
Oh,
yep.
Mayweather's only 50 in.
I was just wondering if we can go back to that Olympic conundrum, whether it was the administrators and or the promoters who wanted the pros to go into the Olympics. Because I don't think any pro boxer would want to go backwards. So I have to wonder whether or not there was more involved on the back end in getting the pros back into Olympic competition. I can't see.
Maybe them at their career being done as a pro, and they wanted to go back to see if they could win a medal, maybe something like that, along those lines.
I can see why for example, the hockey players, the basketball players, because they want to be considered best in the world. But the pro boxers are already winning the world titles in their respective divisions. I just can't understand it. I have to wonder whether there was something else going on in the back end.
Maybe it's the fact that they know they'll never win a world title. Maybe it's an ability to win a gold medal for their country, which in their minds can be just as good as winning a world title. Because let's be real, not every boxer out there is going to be able to win a world title or fight on that world stage. So maybe it's a way for them to feel fulfilled in their journey in boxing, putting a medal around their neck.
Well, also you have to keep in mind it's like we talked about. We mentioned a little bit last week. It's one of those moments where we're seeing for a couple of weeks out of the year, out of every 4 years, everyone suddenly starts caring about amateur sport again, and not just boxing. People are watching amateur sport. They're getting excited about amateur athletes, or at least we'll call it Olympic athletes in this case. And we're talking about pros being involved as well. That's a lot of eyes on the TV. You're getting a lot of views, and you're probably getting more exposure by being an Olympian than you are in your home country. I mean, if you're outside of North America or Western Europe, you may not be getting the same exposure, but you are going to be, exposed to the world at the Olympic level, and that can do a lot to help your professional career at the end of the day. If for no other reason, maybe sponsorship deals back home, they're going to help with that funding. That's going to help with your training. It's going to help in your career, 1,000 different ways by getting those sponsorships, especially since, some countries you're getting, government sponsorships as well. You're getting sponsorships from the actual, your federal government in some cases. So this can go a long way to help a boxer, whether they're, pro, either newly pro for a while, or just, they're looking to get their, more screen time. It's a huge opportunity.
Definitely.
National pride aside, and walking into Olympic Stadium with the smiling and the waving and all that other fun stuff.
And the free tracksuit.
Yeah, you get a free tracksuit. There are bragging rights involved with saying you're an Olympian, I'm sure.
Yeah, man, get on that Wheaties box, man. That's what you want, right?
Well, the Wheaties box. Now you're back into that. That's we're talking sponsorship deals again, right? So, and
Wheaties.
I think that can go a long way, especially for for people outside of the North American system, where there's maybe less money involved at the pro level.
Having said that, it's kind of interesting because we're about to ask someone who did win at the Olympics, but then decides to go pro. So obviously, there's this very interesting balance, if you ask me. Oh, well, now we can ask him.
Well, perfect timing. We can ask.
King
Good
Raheem.
evening, King Raheem.
King Raheem. Good evening.
Can you adjust your phone horizontally? There we go.
There he is.
Hello, gentlemen.
How's it going, King Raheem? Thank you for
Hey.
coming on the show, man. It's a great honor to have you on the show, talking with us today. Thank you for coming on, taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on and talk with the boys on Friday Night Panel.
Oh, I thought he was slapping you there, Mike.
Oh man, I felt it.
Well, believe me, you'd feel it.
Oh, I would. I'm sure I would.
Is that me sound like that?
It's perfect. It looks great.
Oh, good. There we are.
So we were just talking about the Olympics. Maybe Christian can roll into that one for us.
Evening. We were just talking a little bit about professional boxers stepping back into the ring in the Olympics, and specifically how it didn't go all that great for the ones who did in Rio in 2016. So we were talking a little bit about just differences in training, and is there a place for professional boxers in the Olympic format?
No.
Next question.
All right. Okay. So that's a no. But is that thought based around that the training styles are too different, the style of fight are too different, or is this more of a safety issue for you?
For me, it's more of you can't put a boy versus a man. It's no competition. You got kids fighting 16, 17 years old, fighting 30-year-old men. It's just not gonna look right. You talking about men that got experience with fighting with smaller gloves, no headgear, less protection. Now you gonna put him in the ring with a baby?
So you're taking the Lennox Lewis line on this one. That was his thoughts on this whole thing.
Oh, I didn't know that. And I only say that from experience. I get in the ring with a lot of kids now, a lot of my guys that I'm hoping to see in the next Olympics.
Awesome. Well, that answers my next question. I was going to ask what you're doing now. So I guess you're training new fighters then.
Yes. I'm training fighters. I got a slew of them. and I'm sparring them.
Oh,
look at
that! King Raheem still got the physique.
Got it. All right.
And I'm sparring them. You know what I mean?
So I wanted to ask, your amateur record, you were like 215 fights, right? Like wins in your amateur bout. Like over how many years did those fights happen, man? Because that's a ton of fights for an amateur, man.
I mean, I started fighting. I was 12. I won a junior. I went to when I was 12 years old. My first nationals. I won the nationals, and then I won international in Dublin, Ireland. The second year, I won an international, and then went international one in London, England again. So those numbers you see is not just national or nationwide or citywide, but that's international numbers.
Right. Because that was a ton of fights, man. I must say, and it's a very impressive record. I'll tell you, I've watched a few of your bouts, man, and your ability to close that gap and get on the inside when you're fighting those tall guys, man, is incredible. The way you can stay in there and you got that power to just deliver those body shots, man. It's just no wonder you got the nickname.
Thank you. I work hard at it. It takes 5,000 hours of doing anything to master it, and I've been doing it all my life. It's all I know.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So you got what, like 50 or 500,000 hours, eh?
So did you grow up in Philadelphia?
Yes, I did. Well, no, I didn't.
No,
I was raised there, but I left from Philadelphia when I was 13. After I won my second Junior Olympic Worlds, I got a scholarship to Marquette, Michigan with Al Mitchell.
Oh, okay.
1996 Olympic coach who trains Michaela Myers now. I'm pretty sure you got a long resume. I mean, from Andre Ward to everybody in the amateur.
Yeah. But
I went up there with him, and I never went back home.
And that was it, right?
That was it, man. I accepted the scholarship, and from there I left there you know, I was young, I didn't have no money, but I was getting paid from Don King and Lou Duva, Shelly Finkel. They was paying me to spar their pros. You got guys like
Really?
Junior Jones, who defended the title 19 times. I was his chief official sparring partner. You gotta look at Tim Austin, another one. So when I was a kid, that was my hustle. I never had a 9-to-5 job. Boxing was always my job. If I didn't have no money, didn't have food, I called a promoter. Who y'all got fighting that needs some sparring? They called me. Come on, you talking $1,500 a week, man? That's 16 years old. I was rich. Going back to the hood, you couldn't tell me nothing. I was robbing hood.
Of course, and of course, especially in them times, that $1,500 is a lot of money, man.
A lot, man.
A lot of money.
Tell me nothing. I went and bought a car, brand new. I was driving around with the title. The cops pulled me over and said, "Well, where's your driver's license, registration, and insurance?" I said, "Here's the title and here's my name." No insurance, no nothing. I was getting money. I didn't know no difference.
Oh wow, man, that's awesome. That's a good story.
All I knew it wasn't stolen. That's all that mattered to me.
That's it. That's it.
So, but I was asking you about Philadelphia because it's a big boxing town, right? There's a ton of gyms. There's a ton. I don't know if it's still that way or not. I have no idea. But it back years ago when I used to watch a lot of boxing as a kid, like Philadelphia was like the mecca for.
Well, I don't know if you know who Cool Boy Steph is.
No.
Stefan Fulton, look him up. My little brother trains him. He's fighting for the world title this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's ranked #1 in the world. So
he's in amazing.
Philly. Yeah, so he never was in our bloodline, man.
Yeah, but what is it?
I'm building mine now, and I got a couple amateurs that I'm going to be coming out with soon.
And good. Where are you training out of?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia. Nice.
So your boy is Stefan Fulton, right?
Yeah, Stephen Fulton.
Stephen Fulton.
Yeah, cool boy Steph. He's bring #1. He's ready to fight.
He's 18-0 with 8 knockouts.
Yeah, there you go. That's him.
5'6.5" with a 17.5-inch reach.
Yeah, you got him.
Yeah, and he's set to fight on the 23rd, man, for the World Boxing Organization's World Super Bantam title.
That's right.
Yes.
This weekend.
And he's fighting Angelo Leo.
Leo.
Yep. That's gonna be
for Angelo.
That's gonna be good, man. That's gonna be a good fight, actually. That should be a good bout to watch, man, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so I got another question for you. So, you won against Eric Morales in 2005, and that was deemed like a huge upset, right?
Yes.
Right.
So they say.
So they say. But shouldn't you have fought Pacquiao right after that? Was that in the works at all?
Well,
because I would have thought you would have fought Pacquiao next, but instead, Morales got it, even though he lost against you.
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you the funny part. It was sold as a tournament, a lightweight tournament. When we fought, Morales had just beat Pacquiao.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, exactly.
But he was already signed to fight him again.
Was it already signed then?
Yes. Well, they wanted to do a lightweight tournament where they could put Morales and Pacquiao on the same card, would just make the same revenue, but they not fight each other. So it was milking the game. Morales had just beat him. The numbers was huge. They said, let's do it again, but not face each other. That way they can milk the game. We do a tournament. Hernandez fight Pacquiao. Raheem fight Morales. The winners fight each other. Yeah, it'd be a great day. I said, let's do it. But the problem was, if you go back and watch the fight, go all the way to the end of the fight. After the fight, the commentator said, oh, so Bob Arum, I guess that means Zahir and Pacquiao will fight.
Yeah.
Bob Arum said out his own mouth on national television, no, the fight still go on. Morales and Pacquiao, just go back and watch it. But before that, they sold it as a lightweight tournament.
Huh.
Oh, okay.
So now, after that fight, if you go back and look at my record, they put me on the shelf. They offered me a fight with Jose Cotto, Miguel Cotto brother in Puerto Rico. I turned it down and said, no, I just beat Morales. Why would I go to Puerto Rico to fight him? You bring him here, I'll fight him. They put me on the shelf. It left me to rot.
Yeah, your next fight wasn't until March, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so they put you on the shelf from September to March, right after you came off that win. Like, that's ridiculous.
That's and do you know, I still What I paid my own money and went to the Morales Pacquiao fight. I was in the nosebleed watching it and shaking my head, saying, "Damn, that's supposed to be me."
Yep.
Just shaking my head, watching it.
Did the guy next to you believe you when you said that's supposed to be me fighting Pacquiao right now? Did the guys next to you believe you at all? No. Sure you were, buddy. Okay.
They laughed.
So what's your favorite combination, man? What's your favorite punch combination? Because I know watching your fights, you like to put a few of them together, man. What's your favorite one? What's your knockout one?
Oh man, now you see me, now you don't.
Right. Well put. Very well put, man. That was good.
Nice. But back to my question about Philadelphia. What makes that? Why is that always been such a big boxers' town?
I'm gonna tell you why.
Why? Like, I want to know.
If you look at a city like Philadelphia and you see you have 50 square miles with houses touching each other for 50 square miles. Do you know how many people that is?
That's a ton of people.
Yeah.
On top of each other.
Yeah.
So they don't do nothing but fight. Okay? You fighting for everything. Damn it, you fighting because you're too close to me.
Yo, fighting solves everything.
There you go. And
fighting solves everything.
It sounds bad, but it's the truth. And when you, and just like, for example, I had a guy come in the gym and he tells me he's about 6'7", his name is Chris. He probably gonna be mad at me if he ever see this video, but he's about 6'10", and he tell me how good he can fight. He carried a gun, this and that. So I put him in the ring and told me the story of his life. I said, "You lied to me. You're not from the hood and you ain't had no fights." He said, "Don't tell me that." I said, "Yeah, well, you might have a firearm, but I'm gonna tell you why. Because when you do your first punch, it took you too long to bring your hand back to your face.
Yep.
That clearly told me you had no street fights. Because the first time the opponent did that on, he would have exposed you. He gave you 2 hours on one side." You see what I'm saying? But he convinced me how good he can fight.
Yeah. Oh God, that's hilarious.
You throw it and you bring it back. He threw it and it took him too long to bring it back. I said, "Oh no. You ain't had no fights doing that. You wouldn't have no teeth."
That's a steep learning curve, but it's a short one.
What happened to that? What happened to Zab?
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Zab.
Oh, Zab didn't even show up. I got to call him.
I figure he's in the hot box with Mike. Hey, Derek, I think the answer to your question has more to do with Rocky in like the mid-'70s.
Yo, definitely, man. Rocky made it really popular.
Yeah. No, but it's always been known, right? Like all the time. Like there's boxing gyms everywhere. Yeah, probably more per capita boxing gyms than probably any other city in the US, I'd say. Oh, did we lose him?
I don't know. We have to talk to our technical advisors.
I think he's calling Zap.
Was he?
He is making a call. He's calling him. He's
calling the ranch right now.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
Oh my God, that's hilarious, man.
That's great.
That's hilarious. What a great show this has been, eh?
Someone should Google this. Were they on the same Olympic boxing team? Like, were they both on the '96 team?
Let me see. We'll check that out. Or Christian Ken, man. He's our guy.
What's up?
Come on, stats guy.
Come on, stats guy. Go to the corner.
Zap Judah and.
Well, we can't have no dead air. So, yo, Derek.
Yeah.
Come on.
What do you think, man? Riddick Bowe stepping in the ring with Mike Tyson. You think it's gonna happen?
I don't know. This these older guys getting back in the ring. I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't know.
I think it's a good way for them to make a couple bucks because they need it.
It's just it doesn't have that excite like that league. What is it? LOL or whatever it is.
Yeah, Pillow Talk.
It just doesn't have. To me, it doesn't. After
it's lackluster.
As much as it's lost its luster, and it doesn't have that excitement that they're not as fast, they're not as quick, they're not. But Hey,
Good
you
effort.
want it? I commend them because it's all about competition.
So you give them a gold star.
Yeah, they get the gold star. They get the gold star, but
Hey, the champ Bola Ray just chimed in on this one. He says Riddick Bowe is really good friends with Tyson. I don't think they will fight each other.
Actually, Riddick Bowe was the one that said he wanted to step into the ring with Tyson after the fight with Roy Jones Jr. He's actually quoted as saying that. I think it would be a good bout, man. I'm not saying that they're not good friends. hey, you know what, champ? You're probably right. You're probably right. It probably won't happen, but I'd love to see it, and so would you. You can't lie about that one.
But how does that work? Like, do you actually have to have animosity towards another guy in order to fight them? No, it's a sport. No. Like, you're professionals, right? You're gonna do it.
But Ray's not agreeing with me whatsoever on this one.
If Ray just clicked the link, he could probably join this conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ray, click the link. Come on, Bola.
But no, Zab was not on the '96 Olympic team.
Oh, he wasn't, eh?
No, failed to qualify for the '96 Olympic team, unfortunately.
Ray even agrees with me, man. Listen, you don't need animosity. He loves punching his friends in the head, and I love punching my friends in the head too, man. You don't need to have animosity to give your buddy a shot in the head. That's so true, man. It's so true.
Yeah, Mike, I've known you since we were 10. I can attest to that.
Well, I guess we've lost our guest for the evening. I don't know, man.
Yeah, he's taking the dog for a walk.
Yeah, probably.
That's a good question.
But just a little quick one here. As we're talking about Zab here, just real quick though. Although he did not make the Olympic team in '96, he's had an amateur record of 110-5. He's a 2-time U.S. national champion and 3 times New York Golden Gloves champ. He also won the '96 PAL national championship. He beat Hector Camacho Jr., but lost to David Diaz in the final Olympic trials, failing to qualify for the Olympic boxing team. He was there at the Olympics as an alternate at the time, though. He was in Atlanta in '96, but as an alternate.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we're having him on sometime next week, I guess. Since he didn't come on tonight.
Yeah, our producers thought both Zab and Zahir would be on tonight together. We knew Zahir was coming in for sure, but like I said, Zab might have got caught in the hot box with Mike. So
that's okay though, man. It's okay because we're here and that's all that matters.
That is all that matters,
right? We're the panel, right? Everybody watching out there, you love us, man. You love us, man. Come on, man. You gotta like us. Remember. View it, like it, share
it. Yeah, you got to stop using upper caps when you put those posts in the Facebook, Mike.
Maybe. We'll see. All right, gentlemen.
All right.
Well, I guess, Graham, do you have anything you want to talk about? It is your show.
Did you happen to see Scarlett Delgado's interview today with Mandy Bujol, speaking of the Olympics?
Yes, a little bit of it.
Not yet. No, I'm going to have to Google that when we're done here.
Scarlett did a really, really awesome job with her very first interview for us. And Mandy spoke quite well, as to be expected, about the progression, if you will, from in her career, but staying at the amateur level. But it was, I'm not going to say she never said she was disappointed that the Olympics weren't happening last year, but were postponed to this year. But the amount of preparation that's involved. So although they are amateurs, yes, they are Olympians, and their training is incredible, to be blunt. So, we can't take anything for granted when we're talking. Yes, that's right. Anyone else want to read Bola Ray's comment for me there?
Amazing interview. Yeah, so proud of both of them. Can't believe that Scarlett has grown up so much.
That's pretty cool.
Yes,
I don't think we're going to get Zahir back.
No, it doesn't look like it.
and I don't
We'll have
think
to see if we can get both him and Zab on our next panel or one of our upcomings.
Well, that certainly was fun. I mean,
It was pretty exciting.
it was pretty spontaneous. It happened pretty quickly, but
Yeah.
Zahir had the time in the evening. I mean, I'm sure if there was no COVID, I'm sure he'd be out doing something else. But he had the time, and he really looked forward to joining us tonight, and I'm glad he did. It was a lot of fun. I'm sure he's got way more stories too.
Oh my God, probably.
Well, I'll be looking to hear some of the stories from the actual Olympics themselves as we gear up for Tokyo and start talking a bit more about that.
So our producer just chimed in. Eric says Zahir's battery died.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Well, now he knows for next time. We'll get him in here next time with a full battery.
What was Mike Tyson's quote? It's great to have a plan until you get punched in the face.
Everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face.
Great. Yeah. It's great that we lined up this guest until his battery died.
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong? All right, gents. We've been on for probably an hour.
Yeah, we've been on for about an hour.
Yep.
About an hour.
And so I have nothing left in the tank. I've got Champ Bolloré coming up in half an hour. Does anyone have any last quick comments? Going around the table. 1, 2, 3.
Derek,
well, we ended a little suddenly there this evening. We lost our guest. I was hoping to hear a little bit more again about the Olympic experience from an actual Olympian. So that's something we'll be looking into in the weeks to come. So something to look forward to, and we're looking to talk to some more Olympians, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Mo what? Mo.
No, it did well. Mo, yeah, no, I can't wait to hear from some, hear about the Olympians, man. I'm kind of Christian. You got me kind of excited for the Olympics too, man. But yeah,
all right, lads.
That's it. Remember, guys, watch it out there, man. Jab the like, hook, subscribe, knock